Hello there guys, this is Alex here, bringing you part 7 of What If Deku Was the Reincarnation of Link. Where we last left off, Izuku and Class 1A were attacked by the villains at the USJ. All Might was tricked by his other daughter, Hilda, that sided with the League of Villains, at a time when Hilda could have just abandoned the League. Instead, she stabbed her father with a knife made of shadow in making their escape with the man that called Izuku Sky Child. After that seemed to be hours, Aizawa and All Might were brought to the hospital, the latter being in critical conditions, with Griselda telling Izuku her fears of losing her father. Fi told them to go on the roof of the hospital, telling Izuku to whistle as hard as he could, and summoning a crimson loftwing, which he rode upon to get one of the 3 life fruits to restore his teachers. After successfully saving his teachers, with Griselda being overjoyed, she kisses Izuku on the lips, and shocking Shoto that was concerned about Griselda and wanted to make sure that he was there with her if anything went south. Shoto is there just shocked, not making a sound. Griselda and Izuku separated from the kiss, with Izuku being the one pushing her away and being confused. Izuku saying, "Wait, what? What was that for, Griselda?" Griselda saying, "Sorry, I got caught up in the moment." "Shoto, what are you doing here?" Shoto saying, "Never mind me. What I'm doing here. It seems that I interrupted you. I'll be just taking my leave." Griselda saying, "Shoto, wait." Shoto saying, "And for what?" "I should have known. The signs were there." Griselda saying, "What do you mean?" Shoto saying, "Momo was right. I should have made a move when I had the chance, but even so, it wouldn't have stopped you anyways, right?" Griselda saying, "What are you talking about? I'm confused." Shoto, in an angry tone, would say, "Nothing. I was talking about nothing. Just go ahead and be with your chosen champion. I'm sure that he always will find a way." Izuku saying, "Wait, what do I have to do in this?" Shoto saying, "You? Are you seriously asking me that? It involves you. You are the center of this whole universe." Griselda saying, "Shoto, that's enough. What happened was just me being caught up in the moment. Nothing more." Shoto saying, "Yeah, I'll believe you when birds can talk. I remember when we were kids and you were saying that you couldn't wait to meet your chosen champion." Izuku, a little bit shocked, Griselda saying, "Shoto, back then, I was a child, so legends got to my head, and you know that." Shoto saying, "Yeah, I know, but the part that kept on bugging me was what you said after that. Now you would probably have a chance since you are no longer royalty, and spending at least one lifetime with your champion. Not as a goddess or a princess, but as an equal. I tried my best to make you notice me, but you never did." Izuku saying, "You knew? Griselda, you knew all along?" Griselda saying, "Yes, Izuku, I knew all along." Izuku saying, "So, is my life just a lie?" Griselda saying, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" Izuku saying, "I said, is my life a lie? Because you already seem to know a lot more than I know." Griselda saying, "Didn't Impus tell you the whole thing?" Izuku saying, "What whole thing? She just told me that the villains are after the Triforce that dwell within us, and if they got a hold of them, it's a doomsday for everyone. I've been learning thing by that guy called Astolfos that goes by the name of Hero Shade, and he was the one that kept on saying about being the hero that the world despairs. So how do you explain that?" Griselda saying, and visibly surprised, "Astolfos, Hero Shade? That's so odd. Astolfos normally are similar to zombies. They're hostile and they usually are out for blood. So how could Astolfos teach?" Fi comes out of the Master Sword and says, "Your Grace, allow me to explain. The Astolfos are just regular Hylians that get lost in the woods. Normally the lost woods would bring out the darkness within a person, and that darkness devours them and making them hostile. The more they are consumed and the more they remain lost, their skin will fall off, leaving their skeletons. This fate would follow anyone that might get lost." Izuku saying, "But what about Skull Kid?" As Fi would explain, Master, Skull Kids are similar to Stalfos, but unlike the Stalfos, Skull Kids were Kokris that got lost within the woods, and similar to the Stalfos, they had darkness within them. Instead of becoming skeleton-looking beings, they actually lose their features, so they look for a face. But the Skull Kid in the Lost Wood possesses a mask, so it isn't as hostile. On the contrary, he is friendly, not only because he has a face, but the previous you befriended him and saved him from the influence of a cursed mask. Vi returns into the Master Sword. Griselda saying, "But the question is, who is the hero shade?" Izuku says, "Never mind that, I'm out of here." Izuku runs out of the room. Griselda saying, "Izuku, wait," and he's gone. Shoto saying, "Finally." Griselda saying, "What's your problem?" Shoto, "I wanted to." Griselda saying, "You already know my answer. Now, if you would excuse me, I have some things to attend to. Mainly talking to Impas. She's got a lot to explain. But before I go, I need you to be friends with him, because only he could prevent Doomsday. And while you're at it, why don't you get some closure with Endeavor, or your brothers and sisters at least?" Shoto saying, "No, you wouldn't understand." Griselda sarcastically saying, "Of course I wouldn't. I have a twin sister that just tried to kill me and my father, but jokes aside, you must learn how to forgive and move on." Griselda left, leaving Shoto alone in the hospital room. When she exits the building, she looks into the sky to see the crimson loftwing flying from the roof, heading towards the direction of the Lost Woods. She sighed, hoping that everything would fix itself. Meanwhile, Katsumi goes to visit Izuku in the hospital. After being interrogated, her being the last person they interrogated, while Shoto was one of the first to be interrogated. She goes to the front desk of the hospital. Katsumi saying, "Excuse me, I'm looking for Izuku Midoriya. Which room is he in?" Lady at the front desk, "Oh, that boy with the sword and shield? He was dismissed earlier today, but he might be on the roof, or at least one of the personals saw him go there not too long ago." Katsumi saying, "Thanks." The lady and finds her way to the roof. Once there, she only sees a depressed Shoto. Katsumi saying, "Hey, crook and a half, have you seen Izu by any chance?" Shoto saying, "Nope, last I saw him was roughly 20 minutes ago after I caught him and Griselda making out." Katsumi saying, "Say what?" Shoto saying, "Yep, you heard me, making out." Katsumi very angrily, "I swear when I get my hands on that sly bitch, I'll murder her." Shoto saying, "What makes you think it was her?" Katsumi saying, "Obviously Izuku isn't that kind of guy, and I've known him my entire life, and if you notice, he's not that talkative. He doesn't talk to people other than me, unless he needs to." Shoto saying, "But he was..." Katsumi cutting him off. "Besides, he's not as rude as you are. If people ask him stuff, he will answer, holding somewhat of a conversation, but when he does, it's clear that he doesn't want to." Shoto saying, "But if you're the only person he speaks to, what about his parents? Doesn't he speak with them?" Katsumi saying, "Why should I tell you? You've been glaring daggers at him before you had the chance to know him." Shoto saying, "So I'm guessing he and his parents still get along." Well, they just abandoned him. They must be pathetic parents as well. Katsumi slaps Shoto across the face, stirring up a bit. Katsumi, "How dare you?" Slaps him again. "How dare you?" Slaps him again. "How dare you? You don't even know Izuku, and yet you insult his parents? You have issues? You need to resolve them. Who in their right mind would disrespect the dead?" Shoto holding his cheeks, "You mean I..." Katsumi saying, "Yes, his parents are dead. They sacrificed their own life to save his. And the bad part was, you saw them die right in front of his eyes. And you were just insulting them. You are one freaking jackass. Why don't you swan dive off the roof just like people like you should?" I can definitely see what you would be the most hated hero in history if you keep that attitude up. Katsumi was heading out to find Izuku, but Shoto stops her by placing a hand on her shoulder. Katsumi saying, "Get out your hand off of me, filthy bastard. I'll tear that arm of yours and feed it to the dogs." Shoto kept his hands on her shoulder trying to explain, but Katsumi got really impatient and she blasted an explosion to his chest, ruining his clothes and making him hit his head on the railing. Katsumi saying, "I told you to let go. I hope you learned your lesson, you creep." on her way out of the hospital. But Aizawa actually stopped her. As Aizawa would say, "Miss Bakugo, what are you doing here?" Katsumi saying, "Aizawa-sensei, I was looking for Izuku, but I couldn't find him. How are you doing, and what about All Might?" Aizawa saying, "As you can see, I'm in perfect condition. All Might, on the other hand, he's good as new. And I think that was we just had juice, and it healed us and regenerated All Might's lost organs. I wonder where he could have gotten something like that." Katsumi saying, "Juice? Wait, could he have gotten one of those life fruits?" Aizawa saying, "What are those?" Katsumi saying, "Oh, nothing, Aizawa-sensei. After finding Izuku." Aizawa saying, "When you find him, let him know that classes start next week due to the recent events." Katsumi nodded, and she headed towards Izuku's house to see if he was there, but nothing. She sent a few text messages, but no response. She went to her house and to get some sleep, thinking the only other place he could have been is at that forest, and she wouldn't dare go there and lose a lot of time there. He'll let her know once he was back, hopefully. 1 week later, Katsumi was getting ready for school, but he hasn't heard anything from Izuku ever since that day, and from time to time, she heard on the news that a big crimson bird was flying around the skies, and saw it a few times herself. She stopped by Izuku's house, as she normally did, and she entered the house to see if he ever came back, but nothing. She sighed in defeat and walked to the school. Once in class, she saw Griselda, and Katsumi made her way to her, demanding answers. Some of the students are talking in the background, asking themselves who would be teaching since their homeroom teacher Aizawa was in the hospital, and they heard nothing about him or All Might. Katsumi saying, "Oi, Griselda, you got a lot of explaining to do." Griselda saying, "Katsumi, what do you mean?" Katsumi saying, "I heard from Quirk and a Half over there, so what's the big deal?" Griselda saying, What's the big deal?" Katsumi saying, "Stop playing dumb. First off, where's Izuku? He's been missing for the past week. Second, why did that freaking looking guy call Izuku Sky Child? And third, what is going on?" The class 1A are confused. Griselda frowns. "Well, for his whereabouts, I have no clue. But the last I saw him, he was flying on top of the Crimson Loftwing in the direction of the forest. That guy at the USJ, he looked like I've seen him before, but I'm not sure where." Although the term Sky Child was actually referring to the hero of the skies. "And what do you mean by what's going on?" As Katsumi was about to yell at her, but one of their classmates spotted the crimson big bird from the news, and it landed on UA grounds. Griselda saying, "Well, now we know where Izuku is." Katsumi glares at Griselda. "You're not off the hook yet. Now, I want you to stay away from Izuku, you and that Quirk and a Half bastard, because if he gets near him and tells him the same thing he told me, I'll make sure he won't say a word afterwards." Griselda visibly confused. "What did he say?" Katsumi saying, "Ask him yourself." Katsumi sat down at her seat, tapping her foot as she waited for Izuku to enter the classroom. Ida was getting annoyed by her foot tapping, as Ida would say, "Bakugo-san, would you mind stop tapping your foot? It's quite annoying." Katsumi saying sarcastically, "I will stop when you will stop getting in other people's business. I wonder if your old school put a stick up your butt, or were you born with it?" Ida visibly shocked. "How unladylike! That is no language for a lady such as yourself. People might consider you a man." Katsumi smirking, "Even so, I'd be a better man than you. Oh, wait, you're a wuss. So you wouldn't cut it as a man nor as a woman. So there." Ida was speechless. He was about to say something, but some of the students of the class, Kaminari, Mineta, Kirishima, Shiro, Riju, Jiro, Uraraka, Mina, and even Momo, were laughing in their own way, by either snickering, laughing out loudly, while the rest of the class were face-palming at that comment. As Riju would say, "Hey, half ice, do you mind using your ice on 4 eyes over there? I think he was badly burned." Kaminari would start while laughing. "Ida, I'm sure Recovery Girl can help you with the smooch." Ida, visibly furious, said, "Stop it! This is not a behavior that the Hero Course students should be." As a voice would say, "Shut up, all of you." Once they turned their heads, they saw their homeroom teacher, Ida saying, Aizawa-sensei, I meant, weren't you? Aizawa saying, sit down in your seat, you're all annoying. Griselda saying, how are you feeling, Aizawa-sensei? Aizawa saying, physically good as new, all thanks to that juice Izuku gave us. Katsumi saying, Aizawa-sensei, do you know where Izuku is? Aizawa saying, relax, Miss Bakugo. He's in Principal Nezu's office. Apparently he found himself a pet, and it allowed him in the building, causing some distractions, or so to say. He'll be here shortly, or until Principal Nezu finishes up with him. It was having a rough time with that big bird that followed Izuku. It tried to eat him. I think then he had a discussion with the humanoid figure that came out of his sword. And I couldn't handle more, so I left. Ida's visibly concerned. Aizawa-sensei, are you okay? I hope that you aren't under any medicine side effects or... Aizawa visibly pissed off. Ida, I know you're salty from whatever someone told you from before I came in. That does not give you the right to try making fun of your own teacher. Now, because of that, the lot of you will be running 15 laps around the school. Ida, you'll be doing 60. Now hurry up, Ida. You'll have to have a head start, so go ahead and start running. Ida saying, Sensei, don't we need to change our clothes? As I was saying, no, and if you don't hurry, you'll have to double the laps. Ida visibly scared, while his classmates glared at him. Sorry, I'll do my best. As Ida rushed out of the classroom, the students started to get up from their seats, but Aizawa stops them. Aizawa telling them, where do you think you're going? Kirishima saying, well, you said that we should run 15 laps around the school, so that's what we're doing. Aizawa facepalms. It was a joke. Class 1A, what? Aizawa saying, yes, it was a joke, but apparently we got a gullible student. Could someone please go fetch Ida? Katsumi saying, why would we? It's his own fault. He's running those laps. So I say, let him run them. Aizawa saying, fair point, Miss Bakugo, fair point. After a while, Izuku joins the class. He gets swarmed by his classmates asking for answers, which Izuku answered, or at least tried not to tell more than he should. But after he explained the situation, Riju, Tokuyami, and Kirishima had a different reaction, giving Izuku a weird look, but not saying anything. Aizawa saying, next week there will be the sports festival, so train yourselves however you see fit. You can either come to school or simply do some training alone and show up on the day of the festival. It's your choice. Everybody was excited, but Ida storms into the classroom. Ida saying, Sensei, I did as instructed. Aizawa saying, fool, shut up and go to your seat. Ida went to his seat, so Aizawa can continue. Aizawa saying, as I was saying, there will be the sports festival, so train yourselves however you see fit. You can either come to school or simply do some training alone and show up on the day of the festival. It's your choice. Once the festival is over, you'll receive some internships, and therefore learning things that you would only learn while on patrol. And one more thing, Ida, you should stop being so tense. What I said was a joke, so next time learn some sense of humor. The class chuckles in the background. Ida, visibly embarrassed. Oh, I understand. Sorry, Sensei. As I was saying, good. Now I'll leave you with your next... Aizawa left the room. Soon after, Kaminari, Mineta, Kirishima, Shiro, Riju, Jiro, Uraraka, Mina continued teasing Ida. Meanwhile, Izuku came back to class. Katsumi was asking questions about where he was during the past week, why he didn't show up, answered the text messages, etc. But Izuku couldn't answer all of those questions at once, and promises her that they would talk about it after school. After school, they were heading out, but Izuku tells her to follow him to the roof, saying that he wants to show her something special, which Katsumi's mind was going wild, and her heartbeat was skipping beats. Once on the roof, Izuku whistled as loud as he could, confusing Katsumi, but when the Crimson Loftwing landed next to them, Katsumi was shocked, but she could hear footsteps, so she just rushed Izuku for them to hop on the Loftwing and fly, which they did. But as soon as they were flying off, Katsumi saw it was Griselda on the roof that actually followed them. But she couldn't fly, so the game of keep away, keeping Izuku away from Griselda and Shoto, commenced. While flying, Izuku explained where he was and that he'll most likely be returning to train with Hero Shade, making Katsumi very pouty. Katsumi saying, No, you always go there. You spend less and less time with me. Izuku saying, I'm sorry, Kachan. I promise that after the sports festival we'll hang out. Katsumi saying, Good. Anyways, did you know that I heard a little bastard say that Griselda kissed you on the lips? Izuku saying, Wait, what? How did you? Katsumi saying, Explain now. After the whole explanation, Katsumi would say, So you did use one of those fruits. What about the rest of the fruit you used? Izuku saying, Oh, I had to find some bottles to keep the rest of it. The nurses were actually nice, and they gave me something to place all of that juice. And I went to this store which they made their own homemade marmalade, and they gave me a full glass bottles where bottles there, and I actually went to other places to get more of them. And then Katsumi saying, Okay, you can stop ranting now. By the way, Mom is really angry. I'm sure that she's very upset, and I did give her excuses, but yeah, come over for dinner before she raids your grandpa's house. Izuku saying, Yeah, you're right. I guess like mother, like daughter. Katsumi visibly pouty. What is that supposed to mean? As Izuku tried to dodge an argument in the sky, they ended up having one. And once at the Bakugo residence, Mitsuki giving him an earful. Time skip to the day of the sports festival. During this time skip, Izuku went to the Lost Woods training with Hero Shade on skills and techniques, telling him that next time he would face something terrifying so he could work up his courage since he did hesitate during the USJ. Katsumi was also training, but she refined her style a bit more. In UA, in the girls' locker room, Katsumi and Griselda were having a stare down, making the other girls just staring at them. Katsumi challenges Griselda, saying that she will beat her in public, while Griselda just smirks, accepting this challenge. The boys' side, some of the guys just pick on Ida, telling him that he's so gullible and he's the fool, while Shoto asks Izuku if he's dating Griselda, since he caught them making out in the hospital room, making Izuku blush and shocking the guys. Once they were out of the locker rooms, the guys told the girls what Shoto said. That just made Katsumi very visibly furious, and she declares war on Shoto. At the start of the sports festival, Midnight asked Izuku, a freshman representative, to give a speech. Izuku, going on stage very nervously, will try to speak his mind, but a little flashback caught his attention, as he would say, when I was a kid, I admire heroes so much, and I always dreamt about becoming one myself. I mean, who wouldn't? After I found out I had no quirk, I was sad. But regardless, if I had a quirk or not, I could still help people. That's what my parents taught me. But I lost them at a young age, so I lost sight of what they taught me. But luckily, for me, I had a special someone to help me out, as he would be looking at Katsumi. Then I realized, I don't need power to be a hero, but heroes should have courage, giving hope to those that have lost their own, becoming the light that extinguishes evil, and protecting the innocent from evil's wrath. That is what I'll do. I'll prove that even though I'm quirkless, I'll fight with everything I've got to reach the top. So let's give it our all, and without holding back. Everybody got motivated and applauded Izuku, and his inspiring words. Katsumi was getting a bit emotional, but she hid her tears and not letting anybody notice. Griselda, on the other hand, was amazed. Griselda would say, and talking to nobody in particular, although he doesn't remember his former lives, he still says the same stuff. Well, I guess courage does not need to be remembered, for it is never forgotten. President Mike would speak up, as he would say, Well, after that amazing speech like that, let's move to the first round of the UA Sports Festival. Round 1, obstacle race. Who would come in first? Let's find out. Meanwhile, somewhere hidden in the shadows, People have been moved, and the status quo has been shifted. To be continued. So, guys, I'm gonna be leaving it off at this part, guys. I do hope you guys liked the video. I'm sorry for the background noise. There was so many. I got off work and there was still fucking noise. I just couldn't record. Jumping off of work. But I'm sorry for that fucking audio. I live with the huge family, so too much noise on my end. Dogs, family members, neighbors, oof. All that good stuff, socializing. Like I don't get enough of that. But in regards to that, guys, I do, guys, hope you liked the video. Currently, next lineup is most likely Electromaster. If not, I'll try to do the new What If. This one is currently being worked by Erdgan. I usually do part ones. But in regards to that, I think he's been doing pretty good as well. So give a oh god, my voice. Give a very a thanks to Ed. He's been keeping up with your requests. In this case, I have not been putting up anything new, like me personally, in regards to scripts. Man, it's just so much to write, and I'm just good at drawing. To be honest, I'm getting better. Although, yeah, it looks like trash, to be honest. And I haven't updated anything for for this one. It's just I don't have anything in mind. I'm sorry, Ed. But in regards to that, yeah, I like I said, I do hope you guys liked the video. Give it a thumbs like, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you want to see more. And yeah, have a good day, good night.